Hello. Today we are doing a first. We are starting the Amud, Nun Amud Aleph, but we are starting on the previous Amud at the very bottom. 2 lines from the bottom on Memtes Amud Beis on 49b, heading into 50a. Okay, so here we go. We start from the Gemara, the Mishnah that we just learned yesterday. It talks about how to do a zimun with different numbers of people, with 3 people, 10 people, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people, and whether we care about a difference between 10 or any more than 10, if more than 10 actually makes a difference or not. That was a machlokas in the Mishnah. And now we are going to start discussing zimun in the Gemara. Here we go. Amar Shmuel. Shmuel said, La'olam al yotze adam es atzum min haklal. A person should never take himself out of the general population. Meaning a person should try to be with the people that he started with. He should not remove himself from the klal. And Tanan, we learned in a Mishnah, Bishlosha Vehu, Omer Barchu, that when there are 3 and him, meaning 3 people in addition to him, he should say Barchu, you shall bless. Now, Nivarech is let us bless, but Barchu is you shall bless. So it seems to be that is taking himself out of the general klal of the zimun. So why do we have that girsa of the zimun? So let's say the following. Af barchu, even barchu. He can say nevarich or barchu. Mikal makom nevarich adif. But in any case, nevarich is a better form to say, even if there are more than 3. If there are 3 people plus him. Now let's prove that. Amar Rav Ada bar Ahava Amri Be Rav. Rav Ada bar Ahava said that he taught a teaching in the name of Be Rav, the house of Rav, or the yeshiva of Rav. Tanina, that we learned in a Mishnah. Vav nechlakin ad yud, that 6 people can leave or can divide themselves up into groups until there were 10 people. Meaning if there are 6 people that eat for a meal, they can break up into 2 zimunim of 3 each. But if they have so they can do that 7, 8, or 9, and 9 can already break up into 3 groups. But if there are 10, 10 cannot break up into groups anymore. So, amrid bishlama nivarech adif. So, if you want to say nivarech is better, then that would make sense. Oh my gosh, mishum hachi. Because of this, nechlakin, they can divide. Ella amrid, but if you want to say barchu adif, that to say barchu, the less inclusive form of nivarech, that is better. Amay nechlakin, why are they able to divide? Ella lav, rather that's not the case. Shma mina nivarech adif. We learn from here that nivarech is the better form of the prayer. So shma mina can be learned, and shma mina we learn from this. That is the proof. Okay. Tanya nami hachi. It's also been taught in a brisa. Beinch amar barchu, beinch amar nivarech. Whether a person said barchu or nivarech. Ein tofsin osa al kach. It doesn't. We don't grab him because of this. It's not the end of the world. They're both okay. Vahanak danin tofsin osa al kach. But the people who were very diligent, they would grab him because of this. Umi birchosav shel adam, and from a person's blessings, nikar im talmid chacham hu im lav. We can understand. We can know if he is a talmid chacham or not. So Ketzad, how do we know this? Rebbe said, Uvituvo harizeh chacham, talmid chacham. If somebody said the word uvituvo, then that means he's a talmid chacham. He knows what he's doing. But he said umituvo, and from his goodness, harizeh bur. That's a bur. Amrle Abaya le Rav Dimi. Abaya said to Rav Dimi, v'haksiv, it's written in the pasuk, umi b'chasecha yevarech, and from your blessing we will be blessed, as base avdecha la'olam, the house of your servant forever. So there in the pasuk in Shmuel Beis, it said umi birchosecha, from your blessing, not ubi birchosecha, and with his blessing. So what's the story there? So bish'ela shani, with the request it is different. So bish'ela nami haksiv, there's another but there's a pasuk that's dealing with a request in another pasuk. Harchav picha va'amalehu, open your mouth wide and I will fill it. So hahu b'divrei Torah ksiv, that is referring to divrei Torah. So what's going on over here? There's the pasuk that says, no, sorry, that is the wrong pasuk. I apologize. I did not bring down that pasuk. Ahu b'divrei Torah. That is talking about divrei Torah. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Rebbe Omar, the Rebbe says, "Bituvo chayinu harezat talmid chacham." If someone says, "With his goodness, we will live," that is a talmid chacham. Chayim harezat bur. So bituvo chayim, with his goodness, there is life, or they live. That is not a talmid chacham. That is a bur. And Nahar Belai masni ibcha. But the people of Nahar Belai, or it was a city in Babel, they would teach it the other way. That bituvo is what's not acceptable, and chayim is the better way. The leis hilchasa kinahar belai, but the halacha does not go according to those people. Amr Rabbi Yochanan said, "Nivarich shachal mishalo." Again, that's our girsa today for zimun. Harizat talmid chacham. That's a talmid chacham. Lemi shachal mishalo. But if they said lemi, like to the ones who from whom we have eaten, harezeh bur. That is not that is a less good form of that bracha. Amar le Rav Acha bred Rava Rav Ashi. Rav Acha, the son of Rava, said to Rav Ashi, "V'ha amrinan, don't we say lemi she'asa lavoseinu v'lanu es kol hanisim ha'elu?" That to the one who did to our fathers and to us all these nisim, limi, with that phrase again, limi, to those, to the ones. So shouldn't that be a problem also? Amrle, he said, Rav Ashi responded, Hasam mukha milsa. There, the subject is obvious. There, it's clear what we're davening for. Man avid nisi. Who does nisim? Kuchabrichu. The Hashem does nisim. But regarding who we're eating from, whose food we are taking, it's not so clear that you're talking about Hashem. So there, you have to be a little bit more explicit in the bracha. Amar Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan said, Baruch she'achal mishalah harezi talmid chacham. That someone who says that is a talmid chacham. Al hamazon she'achal mishalo. I want to bless regarding the food that I eat. Harezeh bur. That is a bur. Amar Rav Huna b'rei Rav Yeshua. Rav Huna said in the name, and the son of Rav Yeshua said, Lo amran ela b'shlosha. This only applies when there are three people. Why? Delek Hashem Shemayim, because we don't mention the shame of Hashem. We don't mention Elokeinu. But when we say Elokeinu, it's not as big a problem. Aval basar, but with 10 people, the Ikashim Shemayim, where there is the name of Hashem, Mukha Nelsa. Then it's clear intentions, and it doesn't matter as much to be so medactic in these specific words. Kiditznan is learned in a Mishnah, Ke'inyan Shehu Mavarich, just the way, in the same way that a person makes the bracha, Kach Onan Achrav. That's how the rest of the people respond after him. Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael, Elokei Hatzvakos, Yoshev Hakruvim Al Hamazon Shachanu. And that is how the Mishnah ends, that when there are 10,000 people and they all say the zimun together, that's how the mizamein, the person making the zimun, says the zimun, and everyone else responds in the same exact way. We move on to the next part of the Mishnah. Achad asara v'achad asara ribo. It doesn't matter if there are 10 or 10,000 people, which is this part of the Mishnah right here. Achad asara v'achad asara ribo. Doesn't matter how many people there are. We always make the same type of a zimun. In other words, for 10 or more, Omer, he says nevarech Elokeinu, and that is just as valid for 100 people, 10 people, or 10,000 or 100,000 people. So hagufa kasha. So this itself is a contradiction. Amra, in one place you say echad asara v'echad asara ribo, that it doesn't matter if there are 10 or 100,000 people. Al makia dadininu. It implies that they're all the same, that they all get the same zimun. V'hadar katani, but then the next line in the Mishnah, it says, b'mea omer, it's at be'elef omer, b'riba omer. You give specific different nuschaos for 100 people, for 1,000 people, for 10,000, as it says right here. B'mea omer nevarech Hashem Elokeinu, adding the word Hashem. B'mea be'elef omer nevarech la Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Yisrael, adding Elokei Yisrael. And b'riva, with 10,000, omer, you say nevarech la Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Yisrael. And then we add Elokei Tzvakos Yoshev Hakruvim Al Mazon She'achalnu. So we are adding these things with Mea, with Elef, with Ribo. So what is the Mishnah trying to teach us? Either everyone's the same, and it doesn't matter if there are 10 or 100,000, or each level up it makes a difference, and we change the text of the bracha. So answer. Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says lo kasha. This is not a problem. Ha Rav Yosef Haglili. The first is the opinion of Rav Yosef Haglili. Ha Rav Yochanan, and the other is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Ditnan is ruined in a brisa. Rav Yosef Haglili Omer. Rav Yosef Haglili says lefi rov hakahal heim mivarchim. According to the number of the congregation, they make the bracha. Shnei Amar, as it says, b'makhalos bircho elokim. You should bless Hashem with assemblies. So as the pasuk says here, b'makhalos barchu elokim. This is from Tehillim. Should bless Hashem by the assemblies, meaning the implication is according to how many people are there, you likewise increase and make a more glorified version of the zimun. Next part of the Mishnah is talking about Rabbi Akiva. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says, Ma matzinu beis hakneses. What do we find in a beis hakneses? Echad merubim ve'echad me'uatim. It does not matter if there are many people or there are a few people. Omar, they still say Baruchu es Hashem. That's all they say. Baruchu es Hashem. They don't add any fancy additional parts to that part of the davening. That's all they say. Rabbi Akiva, and regarding Rabbi Akiva, Hai Kra to Rabbi Yossi Haglili Mayavidle. What does he do with the pasuk that Rabbi Yossi Haglili used? So clearly he's not using this pasuk in Tehillim. Makalos Baruchu Elokim. He's not using that to prove that the zimun should be made bigger and better each time you move up in number. So what does he actually do with that pasuk? So mibayele lichiditanya. He needs it for something entirely different, as we learned in a brisa, and this is what Rabbi Akiva uses it for. Haya Rabbi Meir Omer. Rabbi Meir used to say, "Minayin she'afilu ovrim shebeme'ei iman." How do we know that even the children in the stomach, in the womb of their mother, amru shira al hayam, that they would sing shira by the sea? Very relevant because now we're in the middle of Pesach, and so how do we know that even those little children were singing shira when they were leaving Mitzrayim, when the sea was splitting? Shinamar, as the pasuk says, "B'makalos barchu Elokim Hashem mimkor Yisrael," that the assemblies were blessing Hashem mimkor Yisrael, from the source of Yisrael. So mimkor, the source, is it can mean either the fountain of Israel, but it could also mean the source of the Jews. And what's the source of the people? That's from their mother's womb. So from that source, from that place, that's where they're singing from. And that's kind of a poetic interpretation of that pasuk. That's how they understand it. V'idach, and regarding from the other rabbi, from Rabbi Yossi, what does he do? Mimkor nafka. He understands it from the word mikor. So what Rabbi Yossi does is he divides the pasuk. The first half here, b'makalos barchu Elokim, that part of the pasuk is teaching him about zimun, and from the last part, mimkor Yisrael, that is teaching him about the Kriyas Yamsuf, and that teaching about the Kriyas Yamsuf. Okay, onward. Amar Rava says halacha Rabbi Akiva. The halacha goes according to Rabbi Akiva. Ravina v'Rav Chama bar Buzi ikluhu l'reish galusa. The Ravina and Rav Chami bar Uzi went to the house of the Reish Galusa. Kam Rav Chama, and Rav Chama got up. The Kamahadar Abimah, and he was looking for 100 people. So I guess at the Reish Galusa's house there were already dozens of people. So he's like, get us a few more. We'll try to get up to 100 and make a better zimun over here. Amrli Ravina. Ravina said to him, Lo tzrichas, you don't need to do this. You don't need to go all to this extent. Amar Rava, because Rava said halacha Rabbi Akiva, that the halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, and you don't need to, even if you found 100 people, it would be the same zimun as if it were just 10. Amar Rava said, Ki achlinan rifta be reish galusa, when we would eat bread in the house of the reish galusa, mevarchin shlosha. We used to make brachos in groups of 3 people. So why would they do that? There were clearly many, many people in the house of the Reish Galusa. The Gemara asked the question, they live yud, when they should have made the zimun with 10 people. No, so Shama Reish Galusa the Ikbid, because the Reish Galusa would have heard and he would have been very upset. Why would he have been upset? Because why are you making a zimun? Why don't you wait until the end and make the big zimun with everybody. The Rish Galusa would have gotten very upset. So now, next question. Why didn't they actually do the bracha, the Berakhos Hamazon with the Rish Galusa? Kuli Alma Lo Shame. Because since there was a lot of tumult and a lot of the whole nation was making a lot of noise, Lo Shame, it was not possible to hear the actual bracha at that time. So better they should do the zimun with small groups of 3 and hear the bracha and do it quietly and not get the Rish Galusa upset, then wait till the end and do it with everybody. Omar Rava Tovsa. Rava Tovsa said, Hane Shlosha Dekrachi Rifta Bahade Hadajiv. There were 3 people who ate bread together. Vikadim Chad Minahu, and one said, Vikadim Chad Minahu Baruch Ledate. And one person gets up and makes the bracha for himself intentionally before the other 2 are finished eating. Inun Nafkin B'zimun Didei. He can join the zimun and fulfill the zimun for them, but Ihu lo napik b'zimun didaihu. They cannot join in the zimun with him, meaning they all have to join in the zimun together at the end, and the zimun counts for their obligation, the 2 people that waited, but not for the one person who could not wait and had to do it right away. Why? Lefisha ein zimun l'mafreya, because it's not possible to do zimun. So let's take a short pause right here and just quickly look at the halacha. What is the actual halacha? So the Shulchan Aruch brings down the order of the zimun that we have to do, and it says as following: Hayu hamasubin shloshav. There are 3 people who are eating together. Chayav and bezimun. They have to say zimun, and then the first person should say nevarech shachal mishalo, and then they answer baruch shachal mishalo tivo chayinu. Then everybody answers after that baruch shachal mishalo tivo chayinu. Then they start the benching, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hazana sa'olam, etc. And they go on and say that bracha. So the imhind arba, if there are 4 people, yachol lamar, it's possible to say Baruch Hu Shachan Mishalo as opposed to Nivarech Shachan Mishalo. Aval, however, yoter tov lomar Nivarech. It's better to say Nivarech Shelo lahotzi atzmo min hakol, because Baruch Hu, it removes the person speaking from the klal. The imhim asar, if there are 10 people, Tzarich lahaskir es Hashem. They have to mention Hashem's name. Shnei Amar, and he should say Nevarech Elokeinu, etc. And they all answer after him Baruch Elokeinu, etc. And then everyone answers after that. And they should not say Lelokeinu with a lamed. So you should say Baruch Elokeinu, not Baruch Lelokeinu. Ubein Yuyu Asara Omea O Elef or Riba, whether there are 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000. That's how they make the bracha. V'chol hamishana mizeh hanusach, whoever changes this nusach, and they give several examples how they could change the nusach. Harei zebur, that is a ignorant way of doing it. So that is the halacha as brought down in the Shulchan Aruch, and that is the halacha the way we apply it today. Next part of the Mishnah and the last part of this Mishnah until we get to the next one. Rabbi Yishmael Omer. So what did Rabbi Yishmael say? Omer, that we should say Baruch Hu es Hashem hamavorach, as opposed to Rabbi Akiva who said Baruch Hu es Hashem, and that's how he stopped. No, Baruch Hu es Hashem hamavorach, adding that extra word at the end of the of the zimun. Rafram Bar Papa Ikla Lebe Knishta de Abi Givar. That Rafram Bar Papa once went to the Beis Knesset, to the shul of Abi Givar, and Kam Kra B'Sifra. He was called up to read from the Torah. The Amar, and he said, Baruch Hu es Hashem, and he did not say Hamavorach. The Ishtik v'lo Amar Hamavorach, and he was silent and did not conclude with Hamavorach. Avshu Kuli Alma, Baruch Hu es Hashem Hamavorach. The whole, you can imagine everyone in shul stands up and starts crying, Baruch Hu es Hashem Hamavorach. You just say it the right way. So Amar Rava, so Rava said to him, Pasya Uchma, you black pot, which is kind of an insult. Bahade plukta lamalach. Why are you getting into this machlokas? Why are you getting into controversy by following the opinion in the Mishnah that we don't hold like? Why are you creating all this strife in Israel? The Od, and furthermore, Hanahug Almak Rabbi Yishmael. Everybody agrees and holds like Rabbi Yishmael. So he kind of yelled at him and told him that the right thing to do was to say Hamavorach, and that is the story regarding Rafram Bar Papa. Now, okay, we move on to the next Mishnah. And here we go. This will be the second to last Mishnah in this parak. If there are three people eating together, they are not allowed to separate. Arba v'chein chamisha, also if there are 4 or 5 people, but shisha nechlakin adasar, 6 people can divide themselves until 10. As we discussed above, 6, 7, 8, or 9 can create multiple groups of zimun, but 10 cannot. Asara ein nechlakin ad kuf. 10 people cannot divide until there are at least 20. Shtei chavuros, and that's the halacha, that 10 people have to stay together, and 10 through 19. But if there are 20, they can divide into 2 groups of 10. Shtei chavuros ha'ochlos lebayas echad. If there are 2 groups of 2 tables that are eating in a single house, bizman shemiksasan ro'in elu v'selu. If it's possible that some people on each table can see the other table, even if not both tables can't see the entire other table, hare elu mitzdarfin lezimun. They are allowed to join in a zimun. V'imlav, and if it's not possible, elu mizamin l'atzman ve'elu mizamin l'atzman. Then each group has to make the zimun for themselves. Ein mivarchan al hayayin. They don't make a bracha on wine. Ad sheyitain letocho mayim, until they add water into the mayim. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, that's according to Rabbi Eliezer. But the rabbis held that they may make a bracha on that wine, and as we'll discuss later, when that comes up in the Gemara, the wine that they had was very, very thick. It was very, I guess we'd call it syrupy, and so they had to add water into the wine for it to have the consistency of a liquid. And without that consistency, there was a serious question as to whether you could make a hagafen on that wine, or you needed to make a different bracha on that wine altogether. So let us get on into the Mishnah. So my Kamash Malan, what is this coming to teach us? And this is going on the first clause in the Mishnah, that 3 people who eat together, they're not allowed to separate until there are at least 6, and then 10 cannot separate until there are at least 20. Tanina Chada Zimra. We already learned this teaching in another Mishnah. Where? What did we learn? That that 3 people who are eating together have to make a zimun. And as we learned on all the way back on Mem Hey Amud Aleph, exactly that. 3 people who are eating together need to make a zimun. So it comes to teach us the following. There was a teaching of Rav Abba in the name of Shmuel. This is what he said. If 3 people sit down to eat as one, and they haven't even started to eat yet, even at that point, they're not allowed to separate. So if 3 people just sit together and they don't even take out their food, they don't start eating, nevertheless, the very fact of them sitting together is enough to create a group that they are not allowed to break up at that point. Lishnachrina, another possible thing that this Mishnah can be teaching us, different than what we learned on Mem Hey Amud Aleph. Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Shmuel, again, Rabbi Abba said in the name of Shmuel, Hachi Kitani. This is what it's teaching. Shlosha sheyeshru le'achol ka'achas. If 3 people are sitting to eat together, even though every single person eats from his own loaf, meaning 3 different loaves, they may not separate and go to different tables. Iname, alternatively, another thing it can teach us, Kihad Rav Huna, the thing that Rav Huna taught. Da'am Rav Huna, as Rav Huna said, Shlosha sheba'o mishlosha chaburos. If 3 people come together from 3 different chaburos, so you have to imagine a group over group A, group B, group C. So 1 person comes from group A, 1 person comes from group B, 1 person comes from group C, and they all sit together. So these 3 people, einan rishayim lechalik, they are not allowed to separate from each other either. Amar Rav Chizda, and Rav Chizda said, "V'hu sheba'u mishlosha chaburos shel shlosha bnei adam." That's only if they came from 3 groups with 3 people each, meaning that from the beginning, from the time they were with those groups, they were already obligated to have a zimun. They left, which they really weren't supposed to do, but now they all joined together, and now they still have that obligation to make a zimun together in this new formed group that they made after the fact. Amar Rava says, "V'lo amran ela delo agdimu hanach va'azmun alayhu biduchtayhu." This only applies if they were not already included in a zimun on their own. But if they already had a zimun in the previous place that they sat in, then parach zimun minahu. Then the obligation for zimun has already left, and they are full and done, and they don't have to make a new zimun. Amar Rava, Rava said, Mina aminallah. How do I know this? What other area of halacha can imply this teaching over here? That the three people, if they broke apart their zimun elsewhere and they came together, even if they already had the zimun, they don't have to make a new zimun over here. Ditznan is learned in a brisa. Mita shenigneva chetzia. If there was a bed which had half of it stolen, Osha avda chetzia, or half of it was lost, Osha chalkuha achin o shutfin, or there were brothers or inheritors or partners who divided a bed, then tahora. The bed is tahor and cannot become tameh, because a tilma can only rest on an item which is complete, a whole item. A perfect way to take tilma out of, let's say, a dish is to break it in half. Once you've broken a dish, then it's already considered tahor, and the Gemara talks several other places how much do you have to break it in order to get rid of the tilma in the dish. But hichziruha, if the bed was restored, either let's say one of the partners sold his half back to the original partner, or the thief returned the half that he stole, then mekabeles tuma mikana lahave. Then it can receive tuma from that point and on. Mikana lahavein, from that point, yes. But lemafreya lo. But retroactively, it cannot receive any tuma. Alma, so this shows kivan de palgua, that since it was divided, parach la tuma mina, the tuma had left it entirely. Hachanami, here also, in the case of the zimun of the three groups of people, kivan da azmun elihu, since they already made a zimun, parach zimun minahu, the obligation of zimun had already left, and it does not return back, and that they fulfilled their obligation. Okay, getting close to the end of the parak. Thank you so much again for watching. Tomorrow we'll continue with the end of Nun Amud Beis. I believe this is going to take us to the end of the parak tomorrow, either tomorrow or the next day. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful, blessed day.